All right. With that being said, let's kind of hop into today's show, and we're going to be talking about working on RVs. We're going to be talking about new products, must-haves, and really have a lot of fun. So, Phil, you have a whole bunch of stuff sitting here on the table. All right. And I'm really excited to kind of have you go over and talk about each one. So what we'll do here is I'll kind of turn the floor over to you.
Okay.
And then I don't know if you want me to say anything ever or just
move that. No, that's fine. Yeah. So I'll just kind of start going over a few of them here. So we consider the 4 major RV manufacturers. We have Global Link, FIC, Bauer, and who did I just miss? FIC, Global Link, TriMark, and Bauer. So everybody's got something new out, it seems like. So we will start with Global Link. So they just came out with a new series of keys. This is the complete set, and I think you've got this on your website. So this is the new GeneriCode series that they have. Blanks are not available from ILCO yet. So this is through the Blue Dog line, we're selling the blanks for these, the master keys and the removal keys. So if you buy the entire set, you get one of each of the keys, and then you get the removal key and the master key at set. So if you're not good at picking or impressioning or anything like that, and you want the full set, that's available. If you just want the master key and the removal key, that's also available. And that's the part number there. We can get that on camera. We are still decoding these keys right now. So these codes are not in GeneriCode yet. We are expecting those to be in the program by June. It'll probably be before that, but this will only be in version 26. What else do we have here? The part number on the blank is BD1105. And so if you need to order those, CLK will have those for you. And yeah, so like I said, the codes for those will be in GeneriCode here within a month or two. So that's kind of it for Global Link at the moment. Anything new that they've got, of course, this is their old set. The removal and the master key, and then what they kind of consider their compartment key. So that's also available, but that's the older stuff. Pretty much everything they have is going to go to this nowadays. So that's what's going on with Global Link. As far as FIC goes, they've got a new key out that's kind of a surprise. This is the new J series. There's only 30 keys in the series. Red is the master key, of course, and the blue is the removal key. They called this initially when they came out with it their high security key. It's not high security, and there's only 2 depths on the keys. So I'm not quite sure why they consider that higher security than what they already have, but their blanks are not available for these yet. We did make our own blank, and that part number is BD1081. We do have the codes for these in GeneriCode now. So,
and Phil, could you hold up like the 2 red keys or the 2 blue keys next to each other, just so people can see the visual difference between them?
Yep. So this is the old FIC, and this one would be the new with the little corner on the bottom of the key.
Yeah, that new one that has that little cutout kind of reminds me of the first time I take a bite out of a donut. Is that bad or good?
I guess you could say that. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's what's going on with FIC. As I said, new version of GeneriCode will be out this week, and we have the codes for those in the program. TriMark, we are now stocking. TriMark's got a couple of things new that are going on. So they've come out with a high security series. The blank for this is Silka TM1RP. I don't know if you stock that blank or not. It's kind of an oddball. There would be really no other reason to stock the blank other than for this TriMark series. But these codes run in the 6,000. They're only used on Winnebago trailers right now. The red key, again, is your master. The green is the removal key. They're very expensive. I think that set runs like $150 or something like that for the 2 keys, just as a ballpark. And then the blanks run about $12 or $13 a piece. I know the Triton machine has a DSD to cut these. That's already built into the Triton. I don't know about any other machines. I would assume any Silka product would have a DSD or the cutting pattern for that. So the ability to decode and originate those keys. So that's what's going on with TriMark. We are also now stocking the blue and the green. TriMark does the removal keys a little bit different. So the green set, these are removal keys for mastered cylinders, and these are removal keys for non-mastered cylinders. And these are, of course, only the double-sided. So that's you can buy these as a pair or individually if you need to. A lot of people ask about why you would want to have removal keys for these. So a lot of people aren't good at impressioning or picking. If you have the master keys and the removal keys, you can unlock the non-mastered cylinders or the mastered cylinders and then use a removal key to pull the core out. Once you have the core out, the code is usually on the side of the core. So then you can code cut a key if you need to. And then finally for Bauer, the long-awaited master and removal key. Bauer will not sell their master and removal keys to locksmiths, only RV dealers, and then they get a little bit crazy with the pricing as they do it. So we made up our own master and removal key. You can see here the master key has an M on it, the removal key has a C. It's got that Bauer oblong head that everybody's kind of gotten used to over the years. This is BD 1111 and 1110. So those are kind of all the new products we have in terms of the RV stuff. We also offer a couple of different packages, and I think you just put these in on the web. There's a complete set where you can buy all the removal keys, all the master keys, all the sets. That's got a pretty hefty price tag to it. And then it's also broken down into just the tryout keys and just the removal master key sets. So there's a few different packages available there. Somebody that's just new into it that wants to get into this stuff, we offer that at a discount for the entire packages. So, and I think all this stuff resides or is about to reside on your website. So everything can be ordered.
Yes. Yep. We have a few missing at the moment, but that'll be resolved here very soon.
Yep. The other tool we wanted to talk about, I don't know how many guys do a hollow metal door repair and frame repair, but we have a new tool called the HRS-1. This is a hinge reinforcement straightener. So when you have a door that maybe has been blown open by the wind, the door closer gave up, it has a bent strike plate either in the edge of the door, either in the edge of the door or the edge of the frame. This tool will allow you to connect to the hinge plate, pry it back out using some bolts, and get it straightened out so the door works properly without having to replace the door or the frame.
Okay, wait, if you could, can you walk us through one more time how that works?
Yep. So normally if the wind catches a door and bends the hinge plate reinforcement, what you would do, tool comes with a link to a video here and then a whole bunch of fasteners. So you would go through the plate, go through the tool into the hinge plate, and depending on which side of the hinge plate you need to move back into position, you would either use the top and bottom or the second or the middle two positions, depending on where your hinge is. And then again, you'd have to remove the hinge first. And then you attach this with a couple of screws. And then using these large bolts, top and bottom, you begin turning those down onto the frame or onto the door. So if it's got a little skew to it, as you turn those, it'll bring that back square, so the door operates properly.
Awesome.
There's a video on our website that you can see how that all works.
Very cool.
Yep. And then did you have a couple of screenshots from GeneriCode did we put in?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And do we still have those cylinders, or were we doing those?
Oh, yeah. So I just wanted to show a little bit here about, we were talking about removing the cores. So in most camper and RV locks, they have a mastered cylinder. And the reason they do is so that when a RV company or an RV salesman wants to go out and show 3 or 4 trailers to a customer, he can just carry one master key with him instead of locating keys for 5 or 10 or 15 different campers. So the salesmen carry the master keys around with them. So if this was a lockout, you could go, and we didn't have our keys. If you had the master key set, you can take the Global Link green master key, put that in. Cores will only come out when you're in the unlocked position. So we'll turn that back to the unlocked position and then take your removal key, slide that in, if I can get it in the right way here, and then you should be able to pull your core out. And when you do, let's see, where is it? It's not very easy to see on there, but there is a code number on the side. So once you have the core out, and this one is looks like 376. So yeah, then you can just cut a G376 code key and put the core back in, and you'll have your user key that you can give back to your customer. That key will also, on a Global Link, operate both cylinders. TriMark has some where the top and the bottom cylinders aren't the same, but on most global links, they are the same top and bottom. So the deadbolt cylinder is typically not mastered. The top cylinder is normally mastered. So that's the use of the control keys. Some of them operate a little bit differently. Like I said, TriMark's got 2 different sets depending on whether they're mastered or not mastered, but most of the removal keys just work on the mastered cylinder on the top. So as with everything, there's a few different rules occasionally, but for the most part, that's the way they operate.
Awesome.
So coming back over.
Yeah, well, very good. Yeah. So Phil, yeah, that's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on in the RV key business.
There is.
Isn't there?
Yes.
The fact that these vendors are changing, like Global Link, I think a lot of people would say, like, as soon as I finally really understand what's going on, a whole new set of keys comes out.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Right. But hey, you know what? That's what keeps it fun. That's what keeps it interesting.
Right.
Maybe.
I suppose. Yeah. There are a lot of guys that really, see a lot of this stuff. We try and stay on top of it as much as we can. Most of the manufacturers that we deal with are really good about it, and they keep us Global Link out of anybody. TriMark also is very friendly, but Global Link really does a good job of letting us know when there's something new coming out, and
Cool.
quite a ways ahead of time. So yeah,
that's good. All right, so let's go ahead. Let me pull up the slide here. Well, you know what? First and foremost, Phil, we are in 2026. We're already in the 3rd month. Is that pretty wild for you, or what?
Yeah, it just seems like we just turned I just got used to putting 26 on invoices in the lock shop. So
yeah,
finally.
I know.
We still handwrite. So
I mean, I still drive around and sometimes I still see Christmas lights up.
Yeah, that's true.
There's
still someone up, I have one neighbor that never takes them down. He just turns them off for 9 months. And then,
okay. I mean, for the record, mine aren't up anymore.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure we got that clear. But Phil, so when is the newest GeneriCode G26? When is it coming out?
We are releasing it on Friday.
This Friday.
Yes, as long as my programmer does his job. So
all right.
Always dependent, but yeah,
yeah.
We're pretty good on Friday release. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. And is there any new features that you would like to talk about?
There are, actually.
And do they involve some slides?
They do. Actually.
All right. Let's get it pulled up here. All right, Phil, what am I looking at?
All right. So we are currently working on this, but right now we have added Triton to the list of key machines that we support. We are just showing their ID number now. So when you look up a key, it'll show you what number you need to put in your Triton to pull up that particular series. So this is a GM key, and I'm sure a lot of people would just punch it in right through the interface that the program has. But if you do look it up in GeneriCode, right now we've got most of their ID numbers in the program. We're continuing to work on that, but whether it's a high security key or a edge cut key, those numbers will be shown in GeneriCode. We are working, and it'll probably be later this year, being able to download directly to the machine. So that's a feature we're working on right now.
Awesome. That'll be amazing. But right now, as it reads, okay, so let's say someone looked this up in GeneriCode and they have like 25 version or older. They would look it up, but then they essentially have to go onto the Triton and they're going to have to try to find it.
Correct.
Right? By year, make, model. I mean, there's a few different ways you can do that.
Correct.
But now you can just select the machine Triton, and it's going to give you essentially the space and depth card.
Correct.
And which in this case would be 163. Am I reading that right?
I believe so.
Yeah. I don't have my glasses.
I have my glasses and I can't see it. So drivers beware.
Yes. And so is what you'll do then. You can just go to your machine, type in 163 on the card number, and bam, it's going to pull it up.
That's correct.
So if you use a Triton, this new update will be very helpful, right?
And should get more helpful during the year.
And even more helpful. Okay, let me pull up the next slide.
And I think we talked about this a while ago on your program when we had Gina, but we have a partnership with HPC where we're providing our code program to them. So if you're buying Code Source anytime after about a week from now, it will be GeneriCode. It'll have a little bit different interface on it. It'll say Code Source on it, but it's still our database. They sent us a CodeMax. We've got GeneriCode running a CodeMax now. So we've added 2 machines this year, one that we're fully controlling, which is the CodeMax, obviously. And then pretty soon we'll have the Triton in that list as well. So
Awesome. So if you own a Code Max and you get this new GeneriCode 26, you now can actually, when you pull up your key code, you can hit cut key, send the info right to the machine, put the key in, and just hit cut.
Correct. Yeah.
How cool is that?
It took a while, but we got it.
Did it?
And that does support the auto angling version of the Code Max as well.
It does.
So, yep. So angled cuts on the key.
Very cool. So yeah, this is a pretty big, how would you talk about the update for the GeneriCode 26 compared to previous versions? Is this a pretty big leg up, or with this added functionality, or is this kind of just...
Yeah, normally we're updating your make model. We're adding new codes as we get them. The problem nowadays, it used to be every year we would get new codes from the manufacturers. Anybody who's, in our audience that does automotive knows you can't get Subaru codes. You can't get some Kawasaki codes. It's all, you get onesie twosie from the dealers, but you just don't get a complete list anymore. Subaru codes aren't in any machine that I know of, and, everybody struggles with them. So yeah, it's nice to add a couple of features, put a couple of new machines in there. The Triton obviously is catching a lot of fire. A lot of people use that machine, so it's cool to have some information in there. We're deciphering all the calls right now to try and get that in the program, but they sent us a machine. We've got it sitting there, so we're ready to start testing as soon as we get all the strings put in and everything, whatever those programmers do. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, that's really cool. Now, when it comes to the new GeneriCode coming out, though, I just kind of want to talk about a few things in case people maybe haven't used it before, or maybe they've used it but aren't kind of sure how updates and all that kind of stuff work. So I just want to start with the two versions of GeneriCode that you sell.
Yep.
The first one is the desktop, and the second is the online version, which goes by G-Code.
Right.
So what's the difference between those two?
For the most part, the database is identical. So anything you can look up in one, you can look up in another.
Okay.
Anybody who owns the program knows there's about 14 buttons on the main menu. It's a lot of different ways to get to the same information, whether you're punching in a code number S123A and you're picking out a General Motors vehicle, or you're going into your make and model and then going to the code series that way. So a lot of different ways to get there. The desktop version has a few more buttons. It has a couple. The only thing that the desktop really does that the online doesn't do is send cutting information to key machines. The online version does not talk to any key machine.
Okay.
It's strictly code retrieval and then machine display information.
So just to recap on that real quick. So if you have a machine that's compatible with GeneriCode that you can send cut information to, you want to get the desktop version.
Correct. And
Because if you get the online version, you're not going to be very happy with Phil.
Right.
When you can't send the information.
That's correct.
And okay, so that's kind of the main.
That's the biggest difference.
Okay.
Yeah, again, there's just a lot of different ways to get to the same information, but that is the big difference between the two. The online version can be accessed by the online versions. A lot of people ask about multiple logins and things like that. So it's IP based. We have an IP tracker built into the program. So if you log into the program here and Idaho, and then all of a sudden the program catches the same person logging on in Michigan, that's a problem, and that will get shut down. So as long as you can have multiple logins as long as it's within a geographic area.
Okay, and that's with the online version.
That's what the online version.
Okay, so if you have the online version, so how many, now you access it via, I just want to be clear on a couple of things here. So you access it via a website.
A web browser, yep.
A web browser. So you're going to go to Chrome or Safari,
right.
Or dare we say Edge?
You could.
Dare we say? But no.
Firefox.
Yeah, Firefox. And when you do that, you can log in.
Yeah.
Now, if it's in the same geographical area, you can use it on multiple devices.
Yes, multiple logins concurrently. Yep.
But if we're here in Idaho and I log in and a couple moments later, I'm in Texas and I log in, will I get locked out completely, or will only one of them work? Do you know?
We get reports, and so we just kind of monitor that type of thing, and it flags it. There's nothing automatic about it, but yeah.
Okay.
So everybody just needs to spend their $99. It's one per shop. So
okay.
One per business.
Yep.
So
absolutely. Now, if someone currently has GeneriCode G-Code online subscription, and the new one comes out Friday, the G26, what changes for them?
Just new information. The online version really doesn't have a version number. It's just continually updated. So if you bought it the day before desktop 26 comes out, you just get a year. So you just have a 365-day period that continues to go.
Yeah. So now, right now, if you use the G-Code online version, is the Triton depth card numbers in there right now?
No, and I would expect for the online users, that's going to be about a week before all that information gets uploaded after Friday. Friday is the release date for the desktop version.
Yep.
And so we're probably looking at another week before we update everything in that program to reflect the 26 changes.
Gotcha. So, but as far as the space and depth information, that's already in the G-Code online.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the other thing about the desktop version, a lot of companies make you pay for additional unlocks. With the desktop version, you get to put it on 3 computers, which are included in the price of the program or the update. So you can install it on up to 3. Again, 1 location.
Yeah.
Or trucks operating out of that location. And then we do allow people to purchase additional unlocks if some people might have 10 service vehicles on the road. So we allow that as well. But there are extra charges above 3. So
absolutely. So that does make sense there. So now, okay, switching gears, or kind of, I'm looking at the questions as you're talking. I'm looking at the questions and kind of ask a few things. So, is there GeneriCode for Android?
Yeah. The online program work on an Android phone.
Yeah, because you're going to use
the desktop version. No, we don't support the desktop version. Does not install on a Chromebook.
Yeah, so
is that kind of where we're going with that?
Well, yeah. Well, I'm trying to throw you some questions that are tricky.
Okay.
Right, because of course, if you have the G-Code online version and you use an Android device or an iPhone device, you don't have to worry about app compatibility because you're going to go to your browser and go to G-Code online and log in.
That's correct.
Right?
Yep.
Now, if you have the desktop version, it does not work for Mac. It works for Windows.
That's correct.
All right.
That's why I use a PC.
We
just had the discussion on Mac versus Windows. I will wholly agree that a Windows computer does not hold a candle to a Mac. But in the case of if you want to run GeneriCode, you can't have a Mac.
Yep, you just can't have a Mac.
I actually think there's an emulator, isn't there, for Windows programs?
I think there is.
I don't know if it works or not, but I've heard a long time somebody mentioned it to me.
Yes. Yeah, it does work. Yeah. But look at the comments here. There are some strong feelings about Apple in here.
I wish I could learn how to use an Apple, but anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So now, Phil, if someone has the G25 GeneriCode desktop, they put their hard-earned money out for it, G26 coming on Fridays, are they going to have to buy a whole nother software?
No, just pay the update price. So the updates run, I think, around $160 for a download, instead of $700 for the program. So greatly reduced for registered owners.
What happens if you have GeneriCode, the G24?
Same price.
What about G23?
Same price.
G10?
Same price.
Same price. So no matter what desktop version you have,
as long as you're an owner of record. So as long as you're in our database is purchasing the program, you don't have to buy metal updates. You just buy the latest update.
Yes. Now, is it okay when can we update our website listing to the GeneriCode 26 desktop?
We would prefer you do it now because we're going to hold orders until Friday.
Okay.
So as soon as you can, because we're not shipping any more 25 right now. It's all 26.
Which makes, I'm sure those, if they were to order an update right now or a new program, really appreciate that.
Yeah. We have a 45-day grace period. So anybody who's ordered an update within the last 45 days of the release date of the newest version, that's a freebie. So if anybody's ordered an older, a month ago ordered a program, we would give them a free version.
What about 46 days?
We typically go 45.
Okay, but
sometimes we stretch it a little bit.
But Phil, talking about this though, really, like something that Freeman and why I think you're so loved by the industry is because you don't have to update every year if you don't see a need to. You're not going to be penalized. Right?
Yeah.
You can use it on more than one device. You're not going to be penalized, right? And you do all these things that like you're not shipping 25s right now and having someone get a 25 version and then be like, man, if I would have known, I wanted to just spend my hard-earned money on that.
Right.
And so I just want to say thank you on behalf of everybody for like being like putting the customer first.
Well, I mean, we have our own lock shop, so we do this every day, and I mean, we see the same things and the same, software updates and things like that through different companies. And so, that's just how would our lock shop want to be treated? We try and emulate that. So
absolutely. Yeah. I would say that, I mean, I don't know about you, but over the years, you kind of run into some software like policies that you're kind of like, are you like, did you design this to make your customers mad at you? Because no one told you.
Yeah, that's true.
But well, perfect. Was there any other items that you were wanting to discuss?
I think that probably covers it. We've had a busy 3 months at Freeman. So yeah, lots going on, and yeah, always something new we're working on. So we reveal those when we can, and I always like coming on the show and having the opportunity to tell everybody what's going on back in Alpena. So.
Absolutely. That's really good. So did you see a comment that you were wanting to read?
There was one that said, "Hey, Phil, Ted is awesome. Ted's our programmer." And I already know that. I'm sure you don't mind hearing it one more time. So yeah, Ted's our programmer down in Plano. So that's one thing I might mention. If you ever need tech support that I can't help with, and as the days go on, there's less of it that I can, I always refer a programmer who born and bred in Texas, so he's a Texas boy. So you get there's no language barrier for Ted.
Okay.
So I'll put it to you that way. How's that?
Very nice. Very nice. Well, good stuff, Phil. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of stuff that we just kind of went over. All the different new RV keys and going over the GeneriCode, exciting updates for that. I know, we have obviously sold a lot of Triton machines.
Yep.
So I know Triton users will be really excited to not be stuck with just the Triton information and to be able to make it a more smooth transition into that.
Can I mention one new feature on GeneriCode that's probably going to confuse everybody?
I would love you to. I would love you to.
So GeneriCode Desktop has a history feature to it. We always used to call it history. So you could look up a key on it, and if you wanted to keep track of that, you could add it to history. So if you looked up code S123A, you could add it to history. You could put in your customer's information. Say your grandmother loses her keys once a week, okay, and she always keeps coming back. So we made a history database. And so there's a button on the main menu called history. You can look up those keys that you manually added.
Okay.
In our partnership with HPC, they wanted a history of keys that were looked up without adding them to a database. So like the last 200 code searches.
Okay.
So now our history has become favorites, and history is now really keys that you just looked up the last 200 searches. So it's changed a little bit in the program. The names have changed, but the functionality is still there. So there's really two databases: those you added manually and want to retain for a long time, and then the last 200 searches that you did in the program to look up a key code. So if somebody was just in, or there's a date stamped to every one of them, so you can actually go back and look. And that was a feature that HPC asked us to add. So we're utilizing that in our program as well.
So if you have manually entered in information and you want to find it, you're going to go to
the same button, but it's going to have two functions. You're looking for favorites.
And if you want to look at your previous searches, you go to
history.
All right. Perfect. Well, hopefully that'll clear it up a little bit, maybe.
I'm still a little foggy on it, as you can tell.
Yes. And I'm sure the first time someone does that and they go to history and not favorites, they're going to be like, what just happened?
Yes.
Let's call Phil.
Somehow that feature eked out in our last update of GeneriCode 25 and mentioned it on one of the forums. And then I had to actually get with the programmer and try and figure out what we actually did. So anyway, I think I have it down pat now.
So one last question here, and then we'll get on to the winners, which is if someone has a Black Widow, like that one right there, will that come up?
I don't know. I'm not sure if they talk the same.
I think it will.
That's a great question. I will find that out.
Yeah, it should. I believe it has all the same info.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
I guess
I believe the numbers. I think like the brain,
about that.
the brain's the same, I believe. So
okay.
As far as like the space and depth database.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. But all right, everybody. Well, hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Congrats to all of the winners. And of course, I'll be back here, same place, same time next week, but without Phil.
Yeah.
You're going to be back in Michigan.
Yeah, I got to go back.
But well, good, Phil. It was fun hanging out.
Absolutely. Thanks for
Appreciate
having
you.
me. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
All right, everybody. Well, hey, take it easy, and we'll see you next week.